Hello, I'm Adam Grimes. Welcome to Module 7, Unit 3 of the Art and Science of Trading. Our topic today is the trading plan, rather your trading plan. You hear so often people will say you have to be a disciplined trader. You must be disciplined. And that's true. I think that is for any type of trader, that is perhaps the most important thing. But without a trading plan, you can't be disciplined. Discipline means you're following the plan. You're doing what you're supposed to do. And unless you have that plan, you have no idea what the right thing to do is. So where are we at this point in the course? Well, you've done research and you are continuing to do ongoing research. You found a set of patterns. You found something in the market that you want to trade, that you feel comfortable trading. You have verified, or you are in the process of verifying, the statistical edge behind the pattern. So basically, you know the pattern works. Now you are starting to think, that's what we're doing in this unit, about how you are actually going to trade the patterns. The trading plan is very specific, very focused. And what we're going to do here is to formalize that trading plan and then work to forward test it before you commit money. And, we've talked about paper trading. We'll talk more about paper trading. It has a little bit of a bad reputation because if you do it improperly, it's an absolute waste of time. If you do your paper trading as a theoretical test of a well thought out and well explained trading plan, then it becomes very, very powerful. To do this work, you need the P&L tracking sheet, which you should have, and you need the trading plan, which we are going to get. And the trading plan includes two parts. It includes both an execution plan and a bigger picture business plan. Let's think about that big picture. So and for some of you, this is going to be very simple to understand. But if you've never seen a business plan, Google business plans. Anytime anybody starts a company, it's a good idea to have a business plan. And business plans can be quite elaborate. It's certainly not unusual for a small business to have a 15, 20-page business plan. That's fine. For your trading as a business, that's the way you need to think about what you're doing in the market. This is not a hobby. This is not an experiment. This is you beginning a new career. Now, maybe it'll be a part-time career. Maybe it'll be a part-time job. But if you think about it from a professional perspective, and if you think about it as if you are starting a business, then you need a business plan. And the big picture business plan includes things like the amount of capital you're going to allocate. And you see the plan, of course, is going to change over time because hopefully at the beginning you're going to allocate a little bit of capital. Once you know you have an edge, you're probably going to allocate more capital. So the trading plan is a living document. It's a document that must be updated, must grow as you grow. You're going to talk about your risk per trade, what markets you will trade, how you will trade, when will you trade it. For instance, if you are a short-term trader, you're going to trade all day. You're going to trade every day of the week. If you're a swing trader, how and when will you put on trades? When will you do homework? All of this needs to be included in this big picture business plan. How and when will you evaluate your results? It's counterproductive to evaluate your results on a very, very short-term basis. If you're a swing trader, you don't want to be evaluating your results every single day, but you do want to be evaluating your results every month, maybe even every week. If you're a very short-term trader, then you certainly don't want to be evaluating your performance every single day, but you better be doing it every week. And maybe you better be doing a review every day. If you're a long-term investor, you get the idea. You just have to have an answer for how and when, how often will you evaluate your results, and then how and when will you modify the plan? Because, as I said, the plan will grow, the plan will evolve, but you better not be revising the plan in the middle of trades constantly, because that's basically no plan at all. If every time you want to do something you go, well, let's just make this a rule, that's not a rule. That's not discipline. You also need to think about, so now down to the more specific. So you have the broad general business plan, and that covers, the reason why I ask you to look at other business plans is you can make this as elaborate as you want. You can explain every aspect. And now we're getting down to what I called the execution aspect of the plan. This is where you will look at specific trade setups. I suggest you name them, and it can be, let's say you traded a moving average crossover. You might call it the 5-10 moving average crossover. Very creative. Other people like to have poetic names. Long rifle, long bow were two trades that I had for a while. Whatever, ping pong, I had one that I basically called idiot too, because it was just kind of such a simple trade idea, but it worked. Your trade names can be funny. They can be serious, draw from Greek mythology, whatever you want to do, have fun with it, but name the trade so you know, and it can just be, pullback trade, but just so you know what trade you're working on, or what the trade is. General rules, markets, time frames, what gets you into the trade, what's the setup look like, how many trades do you expect to do per day, per week, depending on the type of trade, exactly what does the setup look like, and exactly what entry trigger. And I think this is important, the idea of breaking every trade down into a setup that gives you a reason to look, and we've talked about this a little bit, gives you a reason to look for a trade, and then what gets you to pull the trigger, be as precise as you can on that. Where are your stops? We've talked about this, right? Where does your initial stop go? Using average true range. This module is all about this, so we're a lot of talk on exits. When will you move to break even? What will let you exit early, time stops, etc., etc. Profit-taking rules. Do you use a profit target or not? How much do you take off at the profit target? Important questions to ask. What other rules do you have? If you're stopped out, will you re-enter? Any place to add to a trade? Do you add as it works in your favor? Do you add as it goes against you? Do you only add if you take some off? Right? So, as I'm reading this to you, I feel like, oh my gosh, what an overwhelming list, and you probably do listening. But the point is that you don't make it overwhelming for yourself. You make this when it comes down to a specific trade setup. You could explain it in considerable detail, but the actual rules you trade probably come down to a few bullet points. And you could just print it out on a small piece of paper and stick it to the side of your monitor or something, so you have your set of rules right there. And even though I've asked a bunch of questions, many of them might not apply to some types of trades. Your answer might simply be no. So it's not at all an overwhelming list, even though you need to think about a lot of questions. You also need to think about, and this is your personal workflow, so what tells you to look for a trade? And maybe in many cases you're just always looking for a trade. Maybe in many cases you have the potential for this trade to happen at any point. Maybe in some cases you might have a fundamental filter first. Maybe in some cases you might have an algorithm that filters out the markets you want to look at. So this just shows you, why am I even looking at a market? Maybe you look at it every day. Maybe there's some conditions. What gets you to pull the trigger? So there's that entry condition, right? And then again, your exits. How do you get out at a loss? How do you get out at a profit? So it's very important to think about this very important document as a control document. That's what the trading plan actually is. It's a document that lets you control your behavior, and I would argue it actually is the key to disciplined trading. Without a trading plan, maybe you got to be careful saying nobody can do something, right? But it's hard for me to imagine how somebody could. Maybe there's somebody somewhere in the world that is kind of lucked into disciplined trading by just, over time, maybe just doing the same things. But it's so much easier, and it's so much more of a straight path to have a trading plan and then to structure your behavior around that trading plan. If you don't have the trading plan, you can't really ask the question then, well, did I follow the plan? And that is the question. That is the key question when it comes down to being a disciplined trader. The question you ask on every trade at every moment is, did I follow the plan? Was this the plan? And if you don't have a plan, that's a meaningless question. Your trading plan needs to be quite precise. Why? So we can answer this question. If your trading plan has a lot of confusion, a lot of leeway, did you follow the plan? Who knows? I don't know. I can't even tell what the plan says. Where if the plan is very exact, then you can ask and answer this question. As a trader, you only have one responsibility. and that is to follow the plan with precision always. One way to think about it is that you have two hats. You wear two hats. And, that's kind of a silly way to say it. I actually knew a trader, though, who did have two hats. When we discussed it, he was having trouble with discipline. And the problem is that, on one hand, you are a trader. And the trader's job, as I said, is only one thing. The trader follows the plan. But then you also have the manager hat. And the manager asks all these questions, which basically says, hey, is it time to do something to the plan? How's the trader doing? Is the trader following the plan? Does the plan need to be changed? Does the plan work? So you don't do both at the same time. I don't think and this is, of course, one of the little secrets to trading discipline, is that at any one time, you are either the trader or the manager. And when you start to evaluate the plan and maybe change the plan, you don't do that as the trader. You step into the manager role. You put on the manager hat. And this trader I worked with, once he realized how important that was, in his office he had two hats. And he was not allowed to make any changes to the trading plan unless he had on the manager hat. This was a very short-term trader. And so you can imagine if he wanted to bend the rules, if he's sitting there looking at his chart and he wants to bend the rules, well, he's wearing the trader hat, and he's not allowed to do that. So if he wants to bend the rules, what does he have to do? Well, first of all, he has to take off the trader hat, and he can't do that as long as he has on short-term trades. So he's got to get out of his trades. He has to get out of his trades, take the trader hat off. He is now no longer the trader, and he puts his manager hat on. And doing something like that, now that seems very silly, right? But it's not. It's a very powerful thing. Maybe you don't need two hats, but you do need that degree of discipline, and you need that degree of respect for each of these roles, and you need to make sure when you're the trader, all you're doing day in and day out is simply following the plan. Now, this was a short module. In the accompanying materials, it's a short unit, I'm sorry. In the accompanying materials, there's a lot of information that will walk you through creating your trading plan. I think this is one of the most important aspects of the course. In less than 15 minutes, we've packed in one of the super critical lessons. If you don't have a trading plan, you're not going to be successful. If you don't have a trading plan, your chances of success are almost zero. If you don't follow a plan, you're not going to be successful. Your chances of success are almost zero. Now, of course, you have to know what to put in the plan, and everything else we've done in the course, all of the back testing, all of the research, all of the thinking has been toward understanding the types of patterns that you might want to put in the plan, the things that you might want to trade. And here in a following module, we're going to spend a lot of time thinking about psychology, which is basically you being able to apply that plan. But this all hinges on you having the plan. So I'm going to encourage you to kind of make a complete stop here and take some serious time. And this is perhaps days, it's perhaps weeks. If you don't have a trading plan, write one, get one. It will take you, done properly, you can probably draft it in a few hours, and then you'll probably be revising it for several days. And it could take weeks. And if you have an existing plan, well, step back, put on your manager hat, look at it. What are you not doing in the plan? What are you doing that should be in the plan? What might not be working in the plan? Basically, how does the plan need to change? And you must have that. I can't stress that enough. I could have spent hours talking about the trading plan, but I think between what we said here and what is in the accompanying printed materials, you now have what you need to go forth and create this trading plan. Summary: precise trading plan is a critical control document which you must have. Understand what your job is. Your job as the trader is simply and completely and only to follow the plan. Your plan as the manager, or you might think of it as the researcher, your plan as the manager is to change the plan. Maybe to fire the trader if the trader sucks and can't follow the plan. So you need to think about that when you're the trader too, right? Where is the place in all of this for discretion? There is, but it's disciplined and it must be in the trading plan. At first, though, as you're developing the trading plan and working to follow the plan, less discretion is probably better, because that's going to let you ask the critical question. And what is the critical question? Did I follow the plan? That is the very essence of trading discipline. And to answer that, you gotta have the plan. So that's all for this little but super, super important unit. I'll see you back for more soon. Thank you very much.